Believe it or not, inside this tiny bag, there is an acoustic guitar. Let's talk about it. My name's Jennison, and I'm thinking about guitar, and today we're taking a look at an instrument from our friends at Donner. Inside this bag is the HUSH-I EVO II, and if you're not familiar with Donner's Hush guitars, first thing to note is that they are absolutely tiny. Look at the size of this thing. Now, historically, because I'm quite a large human, I have very much enjoyed doing videos with tiny guitars, if for no other reason than for the sheer comedy of the size disparity. But this is actually a really great sounding, very portable and super convenient guitar that is perfect for practicing. It's perfect for performing as well. You can do all sorts of good stuff with it. It also represents an evolution of the HUSH-I line. Now, this is a guitar that has had a lot of promise since the day it came out, but I did have some criticisms of the original model. This guitar addresses all of those and more. It's also a lot simpler to use than the Pro model, which is also available. We'll talk about the features, but before we do, let's take another listen to this guitar. Now, all the examples you're going to hear today are going to be through the jack output. A headphone output is also available for silent practice, but we're not going to be miking this up because, as you'll hear, it's basically silent when played unplugged, or as silent as a guitar can get. Makes about as much noise as a typical electric guitar, hence the Hush moniker. So you can think about this as a silent acoustic guitar that is designed to be plugged in and played either live or in the studio or in the practice room. Now, in the intro, we played a combination of strumming and flat picking. We're going to switch to some fingerstyle and take a listen to how our HUSH-I EVO II sounds. Then we'll come back and talk some more about the spec. So now we've had a couple of chances to listen to this guitar, let's talk more about the spec. And we normally start at the headstock, but there isn't one. But what we do have is this little hanger design up here, which is a really nice touch. This will enable you to hang the guitar on basically anything. You could knock a nail into your wall if you wanted to and hang the guitar from that. Obviously, it's not going to do terribly well on a traditional guitar hanger or a traditional stand because of the absence of a headstock and also because of how small this guitar is. But it does come with some body wings that you can attach to make the guitar a little bit easier to play sitting down. Now, this sort of cricket bat style design works exceptionally well on a strap, and we have strap pins both here and here. But if you wanted to play in more of a traditional setting, you would grab these guys that come included. Now, these are the body wings, and they almost create this sort of modern art silhouette of a guitar body. You can see this one goes on the top, this one down here goes on the bottom. These are common to all of the Donner Hush guitars, and in this particular instance, these ones attach using these thumb screws. Now, it's quite a simple process. You find the appropriate hole, drop that in, and you can thumb screw this tight and it attaches rock solid. Do the same thing down here. We can press that in, use the included thumb screw, and lo and behold, without even so much as the need for a camera cut, we have our body wings attached, which makes the guitar much, much easier to sit with. Now, of course, you can take these off to transport them in the guitar's bag. You don't need to have them attached if you're performing, standing up, for example. You can just use a strap, but it does add a little bit of extra convenience when you're sitting down. Now, in terms of the construction itself, this is an entirely solid wood guitar, although there are no sound producing chambers. It is a solid body design, and it is neck through, which is convenient because the whole thing is quite small. So it's all made out of one solid piece of neck, if you want to call it now. I'll flip it over and show you the back, where we can just about see the 5-piece neck design under this very attractive dark finish, which matches the sunburst on the front. Other finishes are, of course, available. And you can also see the lack of a heel join there because, as we mentioned, this is a neck through design. Very nice touch there. Flipping it back over, we can get a look at the HPL fretboard, which is very flat, very comfortable with these rounded fret edges and a medium jumbo fret profile. It's a nice modern playing experience and very comfortable for all sorts of styles. It's not as flat as a classical guitar, for example, although a classical inspired design is also available. And it goes all the way up here to the 20th fret. Me personally, I would have liked to have seen maybe just a couple of extra frets on this little bit of neck up here, but that's because I like to get them at the dusty end. Truthfully, for the stuff you're going to play on this guitar, this is plenty enough fret, and the access is excellent. Now, the neck profile itself is an asymmetric shape, which feels like it has a little bit more mass on the treble side, giving way to a slightly slimmer bass side, which is very, very comfortable for modern acoustic playing styles, and it's nice and slim too, so it's not a big bulky baseball bat of a neck. Now, in terms of electronics, this is perhaps one of the biggest upgrades that Donner have made, which is this new HPS2 pickup system, and this greatly improves the plugged-in sound of this guitar, which is important because the plugged-in sound is basically all that it has. Now, the Pro model has a load of effects available, but on this particular guitar, all we have is a single volume and then center notched bass and treble controls. We can also press and hold the volume control to get access to a nice visible tuner. There are also two 1/8-inch jacks on here, which allow you to practice using headphones, and interestingly, Donner have also included quite a nice set of in-ear monitors to go along with this, with some buds that have just dropped. These are really quite nice and allow you to practice silently with this guitar without even having to purchase separate headphones. And you can also plug an external audio source, say for example the aux from your phone, directly into this guitar to practice along with backing tracks or a metronome or anything like that. Now, the hardware is another thing to pay attention to, because what we have here are these 6 tuners with open gearing, nice visual touch there, that are down here at the bottom end of the guitar, as is tradition for headless designs. Now, in the past, these have been quite difficult to turn on some of the Hush models that I've played, which I found quite annoying. Donner have included this down here. This is a little hex wrench that attaches magnetically to the guitar's body, which means you always have it there. You can use it, should you want to snug up these thumb screws for the body wings, if you wanted to do that, or you can use it to adjust the tuners if you find them a little bit stiff. What I will say is that these have felt very, very positive under my hand, and I haven't needed to reach for the hex wrench, but it's nice to know that it's there. One final thing to pay attention to, and again, this is a criticism I've had of some of the early Hush models that's been remedied for some time now, is the inclusion of an adjustable truss rod, which enables you to adjust the guitar's action to get it playing just so. However, what I will say is I haven't needed to adjust this guitar's action. It played great straight out of the box. And to demonstrate that, let's try playing some fast, slightly more complex single note lines with a flat pick. So if you're anything like me, what you're probably wondering at this point is, yes, it sounds good, but how does it sound compared to a proper acoustic guitar? Now, obviously, in the room, an acoustic guitar is going to sound more impressive than this silent guitar, but plugged in, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare a songwriter strumming type example on the HUSH-I EVO II against one of my favorite, let's call it proper acoustic guitars, which is this Court Flow OC up here, complete with an LR Baggs pickup system. That guitar is way, way, way more expensive than this guitar. It's also larger, it's louder, it's more cumbersome. It's a great playing guitar, but this is a much more comfy playing experience because of how small it is. Let's compare how they sound played back to back. So as you can hear, the HUSH-I EVO II is punching well above its weight in comparison to a proper acoustic guitar. Now next up, I want to test the electronics a little bit more thoroughly. They are very simple in this model when compared to the Pro, which has a lot of effects built in, emulations of, let's call them legendary acoustic guitar bodies, using, I think, IRs to achieve that. Either way, it sounds very, very cool. This is a much more simple design, and it has simply a volume, which we're going to leave on full, a bass and a treble control, which are both center notched and allow for quite a lot of boosting and cutting. Let's take them to their extremes and see how they sound. So there you go, folks. That's been a look at the Donner HUSH-I EVO II. Now, other Hush models are available, including electric-inspired models, classical-inspired models, but this one is a great deal of fun. It comes with a gig bag, it comes with a strap, it comes with a cable, nice touch, it comes with some really quite good plectrums. Now, again, bundle plectrums, always good fun. These ones are actually quite nice. Comes with those in-ear monitors that we talked about before, some rubber tips to put on the end of the body wings. It's basically being thought out in such a way that it is everything you could possibly need straight out of the box, which makes it perfect for beginner guitarists, makes it perfect for travel. Myself, that's how I'd use it. If I was traveling, I'd be taking this all over the place with me. Although I do have some rehearsals coming up where I need to play an acoustic guitar. And to be honest, I'm likely to take this rather than taking a full-size acoustic, just out of pure convenience. Which leads us to the question of, would I buy one? And the answer is no, but the reason is because I would personally want the HUSH-I Pro model, which comes with a more fully featured preamp. It's got body models, it's got reverbs and all that sort of thing. Just makes me a little bit more happy because I'm a bit of a tweaker. However, if you like a more simple electronic layout and you want all of the convenience, you want the great playability, the great plugged in sound, the modern design, all that stuff, this guitar is absolutely going to do you proud. And I can see myself actually taking this model out while I still have it and using it in a couple of professional settings. I'm also probably considering keeping it in my car for a while so I can jam if I'm out and about. It is a really fabulous modern convenience. It sounds great, as I'm sure you can hear. Plays great. I actually think it looks really cool too in the sunburst with the 3-ply binding. I think it's a really nice touch. And Donner, in my opinion, have absolutely knocked it out of the park with this. Once again, this is the HUSH-I EVO II from Donner. My name's Jennison. I'm thinking about guitar, and I'll see you next time.